Hi, my name is Kevin Fernandez and welcome to my channel, Genie. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite games of 2024. Now why am I doing this now? Because everybody else has already done it. You say, well, that's the problem. I feel like a lot of YouTubers do their top 10s lists of the year too soon. One guy I remember that I subscribed to did it in like December 1st. I'm like, what? But I like to try to go all the way to December 31st, just in case I play something new that I maybe wanted to add to the list or something like that. Now, I do want to clarify, these are all games that I have played in 2024. Some of these games are not released to the public until this year in 2025. But I did play them in 2024, so I am counting that. These are not games that my top 10 games that were released in 2024. These are my top 10 games that I played in 2024. So if some of these games make it to my top 10 games of 2025 next year in 2026, that'll be why. Because I played them in 2025 and it'll be a little more accurate. But without further ado, let's count down. Okay, so number 10 is Nature by North Star Games. This one it plays with the evolution mechanics and oceans mechanics, some of the oceans mechanics as well. They kind of combined a lot of the stuff that worked in some of these, but you get to play in different modules. There's rainforest, Arctic tundra, there's Jurassic, there's natural disasters, and then there's aviary. So I've only played the rainforest and the Arctic tundra, but I have talked to some people who have played the other ones. My dad has played the natural disasters, and he says that one's really, really tough because there's always a worse natural disaster coming at you from out of left field. The Arctic tundra, there is very, very little food, so you do need to try to become a carnivore really, really fast and hunt for meat. And then, of course, the rainforest, there's an overabundance of food, so you don't need to be a carnivore. You could actually stay an herbivore the whole time, or you can do, one of the new features in this is omnivore. You can be omnivorous, meaning you can eat both plants and meat, because in the ancient dinosaurs, which is where evolution kind of takes place, there's just carnivores, there's just herbivores. So you either eat plants or you eat meat. A lot of species have adapted over the years, and some have even adapted to doing both. Raccoons are omnivores. They eat both plants and meat. So it's a really cool. It's really, really cool. It's really interesting. By the way, all these are just what came to the top of my head at the time. So these are not how I think they fare. This is just what came into my brain at the time. So the number 10 game that came into my brain at the time was Nature. So number 9 is Gnome Hollow. I probably should have made this number 10 because I cannot remember that much of what happens in this game. From what I remember, I didn't demo this game because it's by the op, and the op at Gen Con you have to sign a piece of paper, or they always change how you get to demo games and everything like that. So, but it's always like a closed event, I can tell you that. And I was not in the closed event. I came into the middle of a demonstration, but get the gist of it. You bring out gnomes and you get to gather resources, try to score points. It was an interesting game. It was kind of cute. It's kind of cool, but I don't know. It's like the price tag that they were requesting for this game was very pricey for what it was doing. It's not that it didn't have enough parts or something like that. To me, it just felt like the price tag because there are games that are the same size as Gnome Hollow, but they're cheaper. I don't know. I feel like the op was just kind of trying to, you know, get something out of it. Maybe this will move up as years go by if I try it again. I think it's on Board Game Arena, so I'm gonna need to give it another try. Because I'm not 100% sure. So that's why it's on number 9. Like I said, in the rules of this, it's like, you know, my top 5 are where I really know how to play this stuff and how much I think about it. The first few are just kind of like, eh. I might know how to play it, but you know, whatever. But yeah, number 9 is Gnome Hollow. Okay, so number 8 is Star Wars Villainous: Revenge at Last. You get in this one, you get to play as the villains Darth Maul and Phasma, Captain Phasma. I did not care for Phasma, but just like a lot of you, I'm a pretty big Darth Maul fan, especially after I watched Clone Wars and, of course, Star Wars Rebels. I think those two, I remember when I was a kid, I saw The Phantom Menace. Well, I attempted to see The Phantom Menace in theaters, but unfortunately, the Inspector Gadget trailer scared the ever-loving bejesus out of me. The Robo Matthew Broderick was terrifying to me as a child, so I never got past the trailer, the previews, and never actually got to see it in theaters. I got it on VHS instead. I actually never saw any of the prequels in theaters. I saw the third one. I didn't want to go see because it was May 19th is when that came out. It was on my birthday, and I was turning 13. I remember that, and and I did not want to see my first PG-13 movie as a 13-year-old boy with my family. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of being 13. You get to see these movies by yourself. You don't have to have parental supervision to go see it. So I do remember I got to go make up for that later on. But I remember when they announced the movie for Star Wars, The Clone Wars, it looked stupid. The animation looked kind of blocky and chunky. I didn't really like it that much. This looked like an attempt. So the way everybody was describing it when it came out, I remember, was the way you would describe like those kid shows featuring characters from like Spider-Man, like Spidey and His Amazing Friends, or that Jurassic Park Kitty series on Netflix, where they take something. Well, Spider-Man's always kind of been targeted towards kids even when I was a kid. But I mean, like Jurassic Park, that's not exactly something. I remember that was something you kept the kids away from. And that's what Clone Wars felt to me. But, it was so cool to see all those episodes with Darth Maul. So, I'm rambling. Number 8, Revenge at Last. Okay, so number 7 is Cascadia Landmarks by Flat Out Games. This is an expansion for the original Cascadia games. It was very interesting. There was like a whole new, you got a whole new sets of cards, gives you new strategies, and then there was the landmarks, so you can add like mountains and all that stuff, and so it adds more ways of getting more points and scoring a higher score. But the difference is when you complete a landmark, you get to pick from one of the landmarks that's lined up. You get 1 per player. So up to 6, because it's a 6. Cascadia becomes a 6-player game, and one of the things is the problem is, so let's say Jordan gets one where she gets like a point per like grouping of mountains she gets. Okay, that's cool. So then she just groups a bunch of mountains all over the place, and then she gets to score a lot of points. Well, I don't get to have that now because I have to pick these other two that maybe weren't so good. So it does add a bigger depth of strategy, in my opinion, to Cascadia. It's not just add more players, which I know some expansions do. Like the first thing, get that first expansion out there, people learn how to play the game, they like it. The next expansion is add more players. I always feel like if you want to add more players, a lot of the times with expansions, if you want to add more players, you should have done that when you made the first game. So, but this one I don't feel that much about it. Some of them I do, some of them I don't. Cascadia Landmarks is definitely one of the ones I don't feel like, where it's like, oh yeah, you just wanted to add 2 more players. You should have just done that in the base game. Would that really have killed you to add 2 more people? I mean, I feel like it could sustain 2 more people. It's a very basic tile laying game with a little with some pretty good strategies in there. But you know, you could do 6 and I don't think it would be too chaotic. But yeah. Number 7, Cascadia Landmarks. Okay, so number 6 is Harmonies, another animal-based game. This one is you're kind of like harmonizing like different environments and stuff like that, species to grow and everything like that. It's like oh gosh, trying to think of the word. You're trying to control the population of animals and everything, making sure like animals don't get overpopulated, but you know that you want to make sure they don't go extinct, and everything works in like this harmonious ecosystem. I tried this on Board Game Arena this last year. It's number 6 because I kinda liked it, but I think it took me a long time to get it, mostly because it was just me on the computer. I didn't have anybody like explaining to me how to play it. I don't know. I mean, obviously, because I put it at number 6, I'm totally willing to you know, try it again, see if I actually like it. But remember, the order of these games is basically what popped into my head at what time. This game definitely popped into my head at a certain time. So, but it's by Libellude. I don't think I featured that many games by Libellude. You know, one thing I know that Harmonies has got going for it is, of course, the one thing that Libellude games always have going for it: the artwork. It is gorgeous. And it's actually a little more unique because it looks like African artwork. Something that you'd see like on an African mural or something like that. So that's really nice. A lot of bright, vibrant colors and everything like that. Very gorgeous to look at. Very fun game to play. Number 6, Harmonies. Okay, so number 5 is Courtesans. Courtesans is a game by Pandasaurus Games. Jordan and I got to demo this with a full count of players at Gen Con because we sat down, we were going to demo it. It was just the 2 of us. They were waiting for a couple more people to show up. 3 more people showed up, said, is there room for us? If we might, of course, when we're demoing games at Gen Con, there is always room for us to play games with more players. So we, of course, invited them to play. It is, in my opinion, I feel like this game is incredibly fun if you have the full number of players. You get to get a hand of 3 cards. You will have, there will be nobles from different houses, and you get to put you take one card, put it face down in front of you. Take another card, put it face down in front of one of your opponents, and then take your 3rd card and put it somewhere in the court. You can either put them in favor or in disgrace. And basically, you have to keep building up these points. The more cards you have, and the cards that you have face up in front of you, you get to score on what you have. So, like, I have, like, there's a house with a stag, so I'm just going to focus to that, because we all are familiar with stags. If you have you have that card in front of you, and there's a bunch out there, then, of course, you get a lot of points for that. The player, of course, with the most points wins the game. It's very good. There's so much strategy into it. There's other special cards like spies and assassins. You got defense. You got guards. You got like noblemen, which multiply your score by 2. So there's a lot of good strategy in it. It's very fast paced once you like really learn the momentum of the game, and you guys will see soon enough because my next how to play video will be on courtesans. So yeah, be on the lookout for that how to play video. Can't wait to teach you guys how to play that. But yeah, number 5 is courtesans. Okay, so number 4 is River Valley Glassworks by Allplay, and I've never heard of this company until I went to Gen Con last year. We played River Valley. I saw it advertised in the halls walking around, and then it was all over the demo hall and everything. So I'm like, okay, I gotta try this. Unfortunately, the table was always occupied by a full amount of players. So unfortunately, I had a hard time doing it. It took me, I think, almost the full 4 days of Gen Con to finally play that game. I got the guy right before he came back from his lunch break, but actually he was still technically on his lunch break while we were playing the game. So this nice old woman taught me and Jordan how to play the game. We really love it. I loved it so much. I got myself a copy back here. Yeah, it's a really well constructed game, super fun. You get to get all these stones and line them up. These glass stones, you get to line them up on your board and try to score points. But you can't be too greedy because then you go into overflow and that subtracts points from your score. You always want to try to balance it, and but unfortunately when you get close to the end of the game, you might have to go for that overflow grab. There was a lot of interesting strategy along that. I accidentally went into overflow because I grabbed a color that I didn't have enough space for. So that's how I learned that. This was you get to play as these different like woodland critters and stuff that live on the river. Artwork's great, gameplay's great, super easy to teach, it's a pretty quick game to play. That's number 4, River Valley Glassworks. Okay, so number 3 is, I really hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, probably not, because the person who was teaching us how to play this game also struggled in pronouncing this, Biomos by North Star Games. This game, I describe it as Terraforming Mars light. Where Terraforming Mars, there's like, you got cards, you got all this stuff to do something. This is just, you grab tiles, you slide them into the board. If you match these patterns, then you activate a small event. If you get like 10 a pattern, if you get like a longer pattern, it's a planetary event, which scores you more points. The difference is if you do a small event, you get a small amount of points, like maybe 6, 7, 5. But if you score one of the larger events, then you get like 10 points. It's a really fun game. You also get bonus points for your moon and all sorts of extra stuff. It's a really fun game. The artwork is beautiful. It's North Star Games, so of course the artwork is beautiful. And this game, North Star made it twice. I try to not do duplicates, but what can I do? It was a really fun game. Honestly, I remember Jordan and I really just sat down at this game to demo it to try to kill some time, because we had some time before when we were going over to play Nature, but we had quite a bit of time before our event started. So we wanted to play a game that was close to the event hall, but so we didn't have to walk that far. But we still were trying to fill in some stuff, and oh my gosh, this game was It fulfilled what we were trying to do, but at the same time, it also managed to get our attention. So yeah, number 3, Biomos. Okay, so number 2 is the game that Jordan and I actually got to check out the year before, not 2024, but 2023. But we just got to play it fully in 2024 because it was just released in 2024. Flock Together by Sea Cow Games. In this game, you get to pick. You get 2 chickens randomly that you get to pick from. You get to look at them, but they randomly deal them out, and then you play as these chickens and you try to grow them so they can get tougher and fight these predators. However, as the game progresses, the predators get stronger too, so they get more tougher abilities. They get to deal more damage to you for that. So you got to strategize. Okay, let's see. I got this character right here, Moriarty. He's gonna have he's pretty powerful, but he'll get more powerful later on. So I should probably take out Moriarty before I I go to Esmeralda. So yeah, they're all pun based. The artwork is beautiful. It's the same guy who helped do the artwork for Everdell. So you got that going for you. I like the there's different things you can do inside the coop, and then there's stuff that you can do outside the coop. You can't do like every single action that you do. You can only pick 2 actions to do. I think they give you like 8. But some you can do inside the coop, some you can do outside of the coop, some you can do in both locations. It doesn't really matter. But there's all sorts of different strategies and stuff you can incorporate. I would recommend, though, that you just, if it's your first time playing, I would say do the ones that the rules say, and then go after the chickens that you feel are good, because the thing that I do have one issue, but it's an issue that you can just change. The randomization of the enemies and the chickens. I have a problem with randomizing when you picking your stuff, mostly because you can end up playing with the same stuff over and over and over again. We tried to do that with Elder Sign, where they recommend that you randomize the characters, but I remember me, Jordan, and my dad, we got the same 3 characters in the same order like several times. We shuffled it. It's so, I feel like you need to just find a way to get the repetitiveness. All in all, though, it's a great game. I just have this issue when you pick your characters. It's my little stupid nitpick. It's a stupid nitpick. Instead of randomizing it, maybe pick them, especially if you're getting a repeat. I don't know. What do you guys do? I do have a question, though, for you guys at home. What do you do if you are playing a game where the rules say you should randomize the characters, but you keep getting the same characters over and over again? Do you eliminate the characters that you've been getting on repeat? Like what? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys about that. But yeah, number 2, Flock Together. Okay, so number 1, if you saw my top 10 games at Gen Con, you probably saw this one coming, but it was HeroScape by Renegade Games. I am so happy and excited that HeroScape is back. Oh my gosh, I think that was the most devastating moment in my life when me and my friends found out that Hasbro was discontinuing making HeroScape. And if you like it, that's fine, but I'm sorry. I know some people say that HeroScape was ruined when they did the Marvel set. No. It was Dungeons & Dragons. Making HeroScape into Dungeons & Dragons 3D was just so dumb. But I remember when they first brought it out, it was cool at first, but we thought it was going to be like the Marvel set where it was just like you get this one little set and we move on. No, it was like every single pack, every single large expansion that they had was Dungeons and Dragons themed. I'm surprised that they didn't release a third edition of Heroescape where it was just Dungeons and Dragons characters. Because if I remember correctly, Hasbro just, when this happened, Hasbro just acquired Wizards of the Coast. So they started implementing like Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons into different stuff. By the way, I'm sad that we got a Dungeons and Dragons thing, but I think Wizards of the Coast made Pokemon. We did not get a Pokemon Heroescape set. I wanted Pikachu to go up against like, you know, one of the big dragons or something like that. That would have been so funny. But oh well. But Renegade then grabbed the IP and is now making new sets. I believe they have a new set coming out this year. One of the cool things I do like about this Heroescape set is if you don't like painting your miniatures, they still keep that age-old tradition of having the miniatures pre-painted. But if you are one of those people that do enjoy painting your miniatures, well, they also have one where you can just paint them. They're not painted. You can just design the characters whatever colors you want. Let your imagination run free. So cool. Other than that, everything in the Heroescape rule set is all the same. I tried it out myself when I was at Gen Con to see if they changed any of the rules. Nope, it is the exact same game you played when you were a kid. They just added new characters. And I believe they even had a special promo for Sergeant Drake Alexander, new version of him. He has a couple new abilities and everything. It's pretty cool. And it was also pretty cool to see some of the older characters. Now my only thing that I really hope they do at some point is they start making reprints of the old miniatures that they brought out, that Hasbro brought out years ago. Because it's kind of cool that they're making their own stuff, and they're very, very unique, they're very imaginative, very true to Heroescape. But here's the thing, the new people who are getting into Heroescape, they're going to look it up, and they're going to see all the cool miniatures that we got to play with. And they're going to be like, ooh, I want that. Then they'll go onto eBay, because that's like the only place you can get that stuff, and they'll be like, what? $1,000? No way! Yeah, I just would like to see that, like maybe a couple reprints of just the miniatures from the previous sets, just so we can stop resellers for a while. But yeah, number 1, Heroescape. Well, there you go. There's my top 10 games I played in 2024. What were some of your favorite games you tried out in 2024? And as per usual, I know my games all came out in 2024, or I played them. I mean, well, technically. Like I said, Nature is technically coming out 2025. And I'll probably I want to put that on the 2020 top 10 games of 2025's list. Just so that way I can play it with, because none of the cards really had that many abilities. Like, a traditional Evolution, a game in that, like, family of games has. So I want to try it with, like, hopefully where there's cards with abilities and everything. But yeah, what was your favorite game you played on 2024? It doesn't necessarily need to come out in 2024. It just needed to be something that was new to you in 2024. So like, Dominion is a game that's been out for a long time. But if you played Dominion and you really liked it, just let me know. But all in all, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to be notified for my next top 10s list. And if you're feeling in a charitable mood, consider donating to Crayons to Cradles. Or Cradles to Crayons. Yeah, Cradles to Crayons. I keep switching those. This is an organization that is making sure that, this is specifically the Chicago location. They're based all around the world, though, in the U.S. and around the world. Their mission is to make sure all the homeless and low-income kids have plenty of clothes to get them through all 4 seasons Here in Illinois, we're starting winter, and thus far we've had it pretty good. But I've lived in Illinois my whole life, and I know for a fact that it might be a little pleasant in Illinois like now, but February could get worse. We never know. I hope that. I want to thank these people for doing everything they do, because man, it gets really, really tough here in Illinois when winter comes. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Feel free to check them out. You can support them by donating old clothes, of course, money. And but one of the biggest ways you can help out this charity is by, of course, spreading the word and letting other people know that this charity is out there and doing the great things that it's doing. I'd like to thank everybody who volunteers at Cradles to Crayons. I said it right that time. And I'd like to thank everybody who's been donating to who's been participating in donating to the charity shout out stuff. Thank you very much. It helps a lot. It means a lot to a lot of these kids and everything. And of course the other charities that we've been giving shout outs to. Be on the lookout for our next top 10s list. I really need to start thinking of new ones. If you got any suggestions of top 10s lists, specifically around board games that you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments below, because the well's starting to dry up. Be on the lookout for that. But until then, thanks for the views.